General Motors was one of the largest automakers and it involved in a great amount of international business. Therefore, the company is exposed to the change of exchange rate and foreign prices. According to the case in 2002, GM mainly faced three different types of exchange rate risk exposure, including transaction exposure, translational exposure, and economic exposure. Transaction risk refer to the changes in profits during the transaction due to the fluctuation of exchange rates, while costs. Translation risk affects the company financial statement data, especially when GM considers the financial information of its subsidiaries. In addition, economic risk mainly affects the company's long-term profitability and strategy. GM adopts different strategy to deal with both three risks. GM's policy is hedging 50% of significant transactional exposure to stabilize cash flow and reduce earning volatility. The reason why the risk is not fully hedged is that the use of hedging strategies is very expensive. However, hedging part of transaction risk can also stabilize cash flow. GM does not hedge its economic exposure and translation exposure because the two exposures are more complicated. There were some bad consequences. Firstly, GM's cash flow and earnings became more vulnerable to exchange rate fluctuation, creating unpredictable financial results or potential investor concerns. In addition, the lack of the hedging also caused the GM to have exposure to some area with unstable exchange rates, such as Latin America. Although its business there accounted for a relatively small proportion.
Hi, my name is Zongwei Li. Now let's move on to question 4. Why GM using 50% of hedging itself instead of 100%? And let's go. GM adopt a 50% passive hedging policy to mitigate cash flow volatility while maintaining cost efficiency. And internal GM study shows that 50% is a balance. It's more cost effective than 100% and more protective than 30%. This strategy also aligns with GM operational footprint rather than letting the hedging policy direct the business decision. GM ensures that the foreign exchange strategy supported global automotive operations by using passive management. GM also reduced administrative costs while achieving its risk mitigation goals. Overall, GM's approach considers several factors: the level of target risk, the ratio of hedging, the associated costs, and the alignment with the corporation financial policy. This ensures the policy is both accountable and aligned with the board approval. Now, let's move on to the question 5. I think overall GM policy is successful and effective, but I think there's some enhancements that I want to advise. First, using more flexible degree of hedging. GM could adjust its 50% ratio based on the market forecast. For example, increasing the ratio up to 100% during a period where highly predicted volatility could be provide strong financial protection. And secondly, they can use the operational hedging policies. These complement financial hedging policy by leveraging local operation for risk management. Operating hedging strategies like localized sourcing and production adjustments can better withstand high market volatility and align with GM's decentralized decision-making framework. By incorporating those improvements, GM can further enhance its resilience and cost-effective in managing foreign exchange risks globally.
Hello everyone, I'm Meng Zhaozhang, and now it's my turn from the question 6 and 7. First, I will introduce the background of the GM of these two questions. And if GM needs to use the currency forwards, currency futures, or the currency options to replace the currency policy, it should consider buying CAD and selling USD because this will be the cash outflow of the CAD. So GM will worry about the appreciation of the CAD. Therefore, GM wants to spend as little as USD as possible. In my opinion, GM can use the hedging in the derivatives market to cover potential losses in the spot markets. So I will assume that the 20 million CAD is not hedged and it is preferred obtained in the derivatives market to calculate the final cost in USD. And this table shows forward of the 50% hedge ratio and the 75% hedge ratio. And the forward exchange rate on December 17, 2001 was 1.5667. So 15% hedge ratio would be to hedge CAD like 10 million CAD over the next 3 months. When the exchange rate reaches 1.4 3 months later, GM's dollar cost is about 13.5 million. If the exchange rate reaches to 1.8, the amount GM needs to repay will decrease, which is also in line with GM's expectation. Therefore, when the exchange rate fall to 1.4 or rise to 1.8, GM's maximum dollar cost is 13.5 million, and the minimum cost is 11.9 million. And this result of the two different hedge methods, the 74.5% hedge line is more stable than the 15% hedge line, which means that the fluctuation range of the orange line is smaller than that of the blue line. And the options is, my thinking of the options is very similar of the forward. So to sum up, no matter which option is chosen, it's not absolutely unsuitable, but the decision needs to be made according to the current economic conditions. My analysis is that when the hedging ratio increase, more US dollar may be spent, but if the exchange rate is within its expectation, the hedging will also have a good effect. And the next question is about GM's. You can see the two tables from our article, and James' concerns about Argentina's economy are reasonable because not only will Argentina have the large international debate due in 2002, but the domestic economic environment in Argentina has been unstable for many years, causing many institutions to downgrade investment ratings, which will also have a significant impact in short or long term. So as can be seen from the figures, GM has a 129.1 million ARS. I think is net equity. Net equity, in order to reduce currency depreciation, GM can also first repay the location payables, or the parent company can lead to subsidiary, but it must be denominated in US dollars, which can reduce losses. According to the service, the Argentina currency has decreased by 88% against the US dollar in 5 years, and is now in a bottoming shaking stage. But there will still policy uncertainty after the US election. So I think it's still necessary to be cautious about investing in ARS. So this is my references. That's all. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wenjie Huang. The question is number 8. Although all those risks has been analyzed, we still need to consider another factor, which is national credit rating. Credit rating are determined by multiple companies based on their borrowing debt repayment history, and rating agencies will evaluate the debt repayment ability of a company or government. Investor can use the credit rating to understand the risk of exchange rate and investment in those countries. For example, use the S&P rating. We can see the Canada have a 3A, which is very stable level. The higher the rating you get, the lower risk in this country. While the Argentina only has a CCC plus, which is very low, and this meaning the company is very unstable on its debt repayment. At the same time, low S&P rating will also cause a significant impact on their exchange rate because investor will lose their confidence on this country and withdraw of the fund from the country. Also, investor may exchange their asset to another stable currency to avoid the currency depreciation. But it may cause the currency depreciation on their country. Therefore, S&P rating is also very important factor before GM company make a decision.